Hello everyone, and welcome back to our YouTube channel, Mazz Reporter. Here's a quick roundup of today's top trending news for January 28, 2026, as the day unfolds across time zones. Top trending news today from the United Kingdom. UK on a trade tightrope. US President Trump has introduced new trade rules, including tariffs of up to 25% on goods coming from the UK. The UK government has completed an important trade deal with India. Meanwhile, the UK Prime Minister is in Beijing, emphasizing the importance of working with China while keeping a strong relationship with the United States. New Archbishop of Canterbury ceremony. Today, 28th January 2026, Sarah Mullally officially became the Archbishop of Canterbury at a special confirmation ceremony in St. Paul's Cathedral, London. She is the first woman in this important Church of England role. Her big public installation at Canterbury Cathedral happens later in March. Pound gets stronger. The British pound, GBP, has strengthened to its highest level since late 2021, driven by robust UK economic data, including a surge in private sector activity in January 2026. The pound has rallied against a generally weaker US dollar, USD, recently hitting levels around 136 to 138, while also gaining against the euro. Storm Chandra brings bad weather. Storm Chandra is causing heavy rain, strong winds, and possible flooding in many parts of the UK, especially southwest England, like Devon and Somerset. There are also snow warnings in higher areas in the north. Travel is hard, some roads and trains are closed, and people should stay safe and check weather updates. UK government rolls out business rates relief for pubs and music venues. The UK government has announced a targeted support package providing business rates relief for pubs and live music venues in England. From April 2026, eligible pubs and music venues will receive a 15% discount on their business rates bills for 1 year. This is in addition to support announced at the 2025 budget and will be followed by a 2-year real terms freeze. A UK research study links menopause to brain changes like Alzheimer's. Using brain scans from 10,873 people in the UK, the researchers found that postmenopausal participants showed lower volumes of gray matter in the entorhinal cortex and hippocampus, which are involved in storing and retrieving memories, and in the anterior cingulate, which is involved in emotional regulation. FTSE at 10,000. The FTSE 100 hit a historic milestone in early January 2026, breaking above 10,000 points for the first time in its 42-year history. Driven by a 21% plus rise in 2025, the index reached 10,158 on January 6, 2026, fueled by strong performance in sectors like mining, defense, and banking. Tensions over attacks on Pakistani dissidents in UK. UK counter-terrorism police are investigating a series of highly targeted attacks on Pakistani exiles living in Britain who criticize the Pakistani government, linked to Imran Khan supporters.
Other notable news. High poverty levels in the UK, worst in over 30 years. The government is changing rules for house leases, lower ground rents.
Top trending news today from Europe. Trump's Greenland plan and Europe's strong reply. US President Donald Trump threatened new taxes, tariffs, on several European countries, like Denmark, Germany, France, Sweden, and others, to force them to sell Greenland to the USA. European leaders said no and united against this. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said Europe will answer strongly if necessary. Many call it blackmail. Some far-right groups in Europe who supported Trump now step back. Trump later reduced some threats after talks, but tension continues. NATO chief warns Europe about defense. NATO leader Mark Rutte said Europe cannot defend itself alone without the United States. He told European lawmakers, "Keep on dreaming if you think Europe can do it without US help. It would cost much more money, maybe 10% of each country's economy instead of 5%. And Europe would need its own nuclear weapons." He wants Europe to spend more on the military but stay close to the US, even with Trump. France disagrees and wants a stronger European defense inside NATO. Weather and water problems across Europe. Heavy rain, storms, floods, and snow warnings continue in many places. Euronews has special reports on water issues, pollution, dry periods, droughts, floods harm rivers, lakes, and drinking water. Protecting nature and better wastewater management are big topics now. Big India-EU trade deal signed. India and the European Union, 27 countries, finished a very large free trade agreement, FTA, on 27 January 2026. Leaders call it the mother of all deals. It removes many taxes on goods like textiles, tea, spices, fruits, and processed food from India to Europe.
Other notable stories. Stock markets in Europe did very well at the start of 2026, especially tech and defense companies. Talks continue about energy, stopping Russian gas, help for Ukraine, but some disagreements, like France against certain UK plans. Protests and discussions about immigration, high living costs, poverty, and relations with the US and China. Prague is now the most expensive city in Eastern Europe. Boycotting the 2026 World Cup in North America is on the table because of Trump policies, but it is not decided.
Top trending news today from the region of the Americas. Big tech companies report earnings today. Today, many large U.S. tech companies share their money results. This includes Microsoft, Meta, Tesla, IBM, and others. People watch these closely because they can change stock prices, show how the economy is doing, and affect jobs. Investors hope for good sales numbers, especially in AI, cloud services, and electric vehicles. Winter storm causes deaths and travel chaos. A massive winter storm, unofficially named Winter Storm Fern, has brought significant destruction across North America since late January 2026. The death toll has risen to at least 50 people across the U.S. as of January 27th. Over 1 million customers lost power at the storm's peak. More than 20,000 flights were canceled between Friday and Monday. Trump's immigration policies face anger and protests. President Trump's strict immigration rules continue with big ICE, immigration agents, operations, and arrests. Some raids catch people without crimes, causing protests in cities like Minneapolis, where federal agents shot and killed U.S. citizens during clashes. Trump's approval on immigration dropped to a new low. Only 39% approve in polls. Many say the actions go too far and make communities unsafe. Protests happen in several cities against these raids. Calls to boycott 2026 World Cup in North America. Former FIFA leader Sepp Blatter supports fans boycotting World Cup matches in the United States. The tournament is in US, Canada, and Mexico in 2026. This is because of Trump's policies at home, like immigration, and abroad. Some fans and groups are angry and may not watch or go to games. It could hurt the event's success. U.S. leaves. Paris Climate Agreement. Again, the Trump government officially left the Paris Climate Agreement, a global plan to fight climate change, for the second time. They also plan to leave a bigger UN climate group. Trump says clean energy is not important. Many experts worry this will increase pollution and make it harder for the world to stop global warming.
Other notable news. Economy and trade. U.S. stocks rise in some areas, but worries about tariffs and trade deals, like with Canada and Mexico, continue. Latin America, crime from gangs, health issues like dengue fever, and preparations for elections happen in countries like Mexico and Brazil. Travel warnings exist in some places because of safety. Population. U.S. growth slows because less immigration happens now.
Top trending news today from the South Asian region. Pakistan joins efforts for Gaza peace. Recently, Pakistan has officially joined the Board of Peace, BOP, an international body established to facilitate the Gaza peace plan. Pakistan's stated goals for joining include advocating for a permanent ceasefire, scaling up humanitarian aid, and supporting the establishment of a sovereign Palestinian state based on pre-1967 borders. T20 World Cup 2026. Cricket drama continues. The ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2026 in India and Sri Lanka from February faces big issues. Bangladesh refused to play in India and withdrew. Scotland replaced them in their group. Pakistan is angry about this and may boycott. If Pakistan pulls out, Bangladesh could come back to play in Sri Lanka. Heavy snow and rescue work in northern areas. Heavy snowfall and avalanches hit northern Pakistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Balochistan, Muri, northern areas. Roads closed, people stuck. Pakistan Army leads rescue and relief operations, helping with food, medicine, and clearing paths. Cold weather continues in cities like Islamabad. People advised to stay safe and follow updates. Basant in Lahore. Pakistan officially revives Basant in Lahore with strict SOPs, registered kite stalls, cotton strings only, and enhanced safety measures celebrating culture responsibly. India-EU Free Trade Agreement signed. India and the European Union, 27 countries, signed a very big free trade deal on 27 January 2026. Leaders call it the mother of all deals. It removes many taxes on products like textiles, chemicals, medicines, plastics, iron, steel, and more.
Other notable news. Pakistan seafood exports to China grow strong, almost $255 million in 2025. Pakistan commits to UN rules for peaceful dispute solving. Pakistan and Australia have agreed to further strengthen bilateral cooperation in the mining and gemstone sectors.
Top trending news today from Western Pacific region. China's actions in South China Sea and Taiwan area. China continues building and militarizing reefs in the South China Sea. China also tested hundreds of fishing boats in formations near Taiwan to show support for possible military operations. Tensions stay high around Taiwan Strait and South China Sea. North Korea fires ballistic missiles. North Korea launched 2 or more ballistic missiles toward the Sea of Japan, East Sea, on 27 January 2026. South Korea and Japan detected them and called the action provocative and a threat to peace. This is the second missile test in January 2026. South Korea says it keeps strong defense readiness with the U.S. Japan says it endangers the region. North Korea did similar tests earlier this month with claimed hypersonic missiles. Japan's politics and economy. Japan PM Sanae Takaichi dissolves House of Representatives, calls snap February election. Her party set for major gains in bold right-wing power moves. Myanmar election results favor the military-backed party, with 25% of seats reserved for unelected military representatives and a military proxy party taking most of the elected seats. It was clear the military and its proxies would hold most seats in the next parliament even before third-phase voting began.
Other notable news. Cholera update. WHO reports cholera cases in 2025 affected the Western Pacific region. Japan's Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi says that Japan will not take in any Islamists and that fake refugees must be sent out if Japan is to stay in Japan.
Top trending news today from the Eastern Mediterranean region. Tensions rise in Eastern Mediterranean Sea between Turkey, Israel, Greece, and Cyprus. Turkey is worried about a stronger alliance between Israel, Greece, and Cyprus. They signed a new military plan for 2026 with more joint air and sea exercises. Turkey sees this as an attempt to limit its rights in the sea, Aegean and Eastern Mediterranean. President Erdogan said Turkey will not allow violations of its rights. Some call it a new front against Turkey. Energy, gas, and sea borders are big issues here. Ongoing Gaza and Israel situation. The Board of Peace, led by a former UN envoy, starts work for Gaza rebuilding after the war. Some countries join this board, but there are disagreements with the U.S. over who is included. Lebanon disarmament progress and Israel actions. The Lebanese army says it completed the first phase of taking control in the south, Litani area, and disarming non-state groups like Hezbollah. Israel says this is not enough and Hezbollah still has weapons. Israel did some strikes and assassinations in South Lebanon. Talks for full peace are slow. Syria, after regime change. 1 year after the fall of Bashar al-Assad, Syria remains in a fragile transition under an interim government led by Ahmed al-Shara. While major combat has ended, the country is grappling with internal power struggles, continued foreign intervention, and a severe humanitarian crisis. Iran tensions and U.S. military moves. The U.S. sent a big aircraft carrier group, USS Abraham Lincoln, to the Middle East. Iran says this will not stop its defense. Rhetoric is high between U.S.-Iran. Protests in Iran earlier, from currency drop, were crushed. Nuclear issues and possible new actions are worries for the region. Health news, cholera outbreak update. WHO reports high cholera cases in 2025, with the Eastern Mediterranean region having the most, many deaths. Cases continue into 2026. Monitoring and help are ongoing in affected countries, including conflict areas. Polio is still a problem here, the only WHO region with it.
Other notable news. Water shortages, climate issues, and protests are possible in some countries. Israel seen as the main threat by some due to its actions in Gaza, Lebanon, Syria. Egypt helped in Gaza aid and peace talks.
Top trending news today from the African region. Severe flooding hit southern Africa. Heavy rain and big floods since December 2025 have hurt about 1.3 million people in southern Africa. Countries like Mozambique, Malawi, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and others. Many homes, roads, schools, and health centers are damaged or underwater. People had to leave their homes. This increases risks of diseases like cholera and malaria. WHO and local groups give help, but more support is needed. Floods also affect East and West Africa in some places. Big hunger crisis in West and Central Africa. The UN warns that up to 55 million people in West and Central Africa, like Nigeria, Mali, Burkina Faso, Chad, Niger, and others, may face very bad hunger, crisis level or worse, from June to August 2026. This is because of less money for aid, more violence, and people moving away from homes. Funding cuts make it harder to help. This is a big worry for food security in the region. Africa pays more debt to China than it gets new loans. Recent reports show that in recent years, 2020-2024, African countries paid back more money to China, about $22 billion extra, than they received in new loans. This is a change from before. Now groups like the World Bank and IMF give more help. Experts say this is bad for Africa because countries struggle to pay for schools, health, and services. The problem may get worse with less aid in 2025-2026. Uganda military chief denies attack on opposition leader's wife. Uganda's army leader, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, said he did not order or know about any attack on opposition leader Bobi Wine's wife during a night raid on their home. Bobi Wine, who plans to run in 2026 elections, accused soldiers. This adds to political tension before elections. The government also denied plans to shut down internet or mobile money during elections. Angola plans debt for health swap. Angola's government wants a special deal this year, swap some debt for health projects, like building hospitals or buying medicine. They also plan to get more money from the World Bank and sell bonds internationally. This is part of efforts to manage high debt and improve health services.
Other notable news. South Africa's coal exports grew a lot in 2025, highest in years, because better trains. Indian diesel sales to West Africa increased after EU rules on Russian fuel. Talks continue about Ethiopia's big dam, GERD. U.S. President Trump offered to help mediate again between Ethiopia, Egypt, and Sudan. A World Bank report says the Middle East and North Africa, including Egypt, Morocco, Tunisia, makes too much waste per person. It costs $7.2 billion a year in damage and hurts tourism and growth. Cholera cases are lower in January 2026 than last year, but still a risk in flood areas. Mpox, monkeypox cases dropped a lot. Thank you for tuning in to Mazz Reporter Radio. If you found this January 28, 2026 breakdown insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with others who want to stay informed. We'll keep bringing you interesting and insightful updates on the stories that are shaping our world.